What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Franky Deck Builders, and today I will be doing a Doflamingo OG Warlords deck. But let's just jump right into the video. And I think I think this one's pretty fun to play with. I've done a little bit tweaking over time, and I think I've come to something pretty good. And you know, some of these numbers can be adjusted, I think, but I'm kind of liking how it plays. Before we jump right into it, I'm doing a little different from how I normally do it. I pulled up the deck and made it on the One Piece card game dev website. I will link it down below. Very awesome, super easy to build your decks and then print out proxies so you can test them out really easily, or get the info you need to do them in like TTS, Tabletop Simulator, or Untapped. So very good service, very fun. I would highly recommend it. But let's just jump into the deck though. And our leader is Donquixote Doflamingo. And he is pretty standard for your mono-colored leader. 5,000 power, 5 life. His ability is that you can attach 2 Dawn to him, and then when attacking, you rest a Dawn, and you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a 7 Warlords of the Sea type character with a cost of 4 or less, you may play it rested. So very interesting ability, and he is clearly built to kind of function with his character card, and we'll go into that in more detail. But the basic idea of this deck is I have a lot of Warlords. It's a Warlord centric deck. There's only a few cards in it that are not Warlord, and basically the idea is that I'm trying to utilize the various Warlords abilities and using the search cards, or not the search cards, and using cards like Perona and the Doflamingo character card to be controlling exactly what cards I'm pulling, so I know exactly what's there when I want to use Doflamingo's ability to try to pull out some on-play abilities. And I think the thing this deck kind of needs is some more 4-cost or less Warlord characters with on-play abilities. There's a few, but I would say if we get some more with some really good on-play abilities, this deck would be even better. But let's kind of go into the characters. They have it in order of power, I'm pretty sure, but we have basically our low-cost characters, and not like Jinbe's in here too, but I would say that you have Law, Perona, Kuma, and Doflamingo, and you're gonna want 4 of each of these. You have Perona, Kuma, and Doflamingo who can be looking at the top of your deck, and you basically have a bunch of these because you want at least one of these in your opening hands so you can start controlling your deck right away. And at first I didn't have these low-cost laws, but I threw them in because I want some low-cost blockers that I can throw down to protect something, like maybe if I'm trying to pull out a Moria using Doflamingo's ability, the character comes out rested, so you have to be able to defend it, or if it doesn't, or like, you know, sometimes you might be just trying to utilize the on-play ability, but if it's a character you're trying to get out and be functional for like the next round, you'll need a way to either bring it back to your hand or defend it. Here's a look at kind of Law. Like I said, pretty basic low-cost blocker. Here's a look at Perona. On play, 5 cards. Look at the top 5, rearrange in any order, then return them to the top or bottom of the deck. Kuma, very similar. You can do 3. He's triggerable. You know, like I said, this is another low-cost one that you can do on your first turn or two to try to start getting control. Here's a look at the Donquixote one. He's basically just Perona, higher cost blocker. Very useful. I really like this card because you can also use him. You can also use some other cards to get him multiple uses. Then we have our 4-cost, which basically all of these guys can be probably interchangeable. The only reason I did 4 of Jinbe is I think his ability is actually quite useful. The only downside is he's not a 7 Warlords member, so you're not gonna be able to pull him out using Doflamingo's ability. But his on play and the trigger make it so I thought he would actually still be a useful card in this deck. Because the idea is that you're just not trying to set him up to play with Doflamingo. You're just trying to set him up to get drawn into your hand so that you can use him, or hope that he's in your life pool to trigger. But yeah, so like I said, Jinbe gonna be useful. The only downside to him is that he's a Straw Hat crew member and not a Warlord, so we can't use Doflamingo's ability to pull him out. But like I said, I think he's still useful. Add to the deck. And then we get into our Warlord 4-cost characters, which are going to be these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. And these I would say are kind of, you can probably mix and match, switch these up into kind of whatever order you're doing. My thought is that I have the one, so what, some of these I have a little lower because you can, you know, maybe use the Moria to fish them out of your trash to try to use them again. Originally I think I had 4 Mihawk because he had the 2000 counter and he's the good card draw, but I think I kind of balanced him out. Did 3 of those, 3 of the Boa to have a higher cost blocker in the mix. But I guess we'll look at the cards. We have Teach. He's going to be on play. You can bring a 3 cost or less back to the owner's hand. You can use it against your enemy. This is another way to get cards from your board back to your hand. So, you know, you have some options with it. Once again, maybe something you flex up to 3 of, but I'm figuring, like I said, the idea is that you're controlling the deck so you kind of have him ready to pull out when you want. We have Moria, and this is going to be one of your big attackers. The idea is you're trying to use your card draw cards to get up to 6 and then have him down to get double strike. Just need a little something to be attacking, and I do like I do like this card. Gonna be one of your main attacker cards. Boa can be flexible. She's a blocker or an attacker with an on play that uses either when attacking or blocking to draw a card. I put 4 Moria because you can kind of, you know, float him where you want him, and then use Doflamingo's ability to play him and bring any cards that you've put into your trash, bring back, use it again. And since everything's kind of 4 costs or less, you have a lot of options. Basically, everything except for Jinbe and Perona. When it comes to characters, you can pull back out. You know, maybe you do less of these, but I think 4 of is totally not bad. It gives you 4 times that you can try to get something back from your trash into your hand. And my thought was, this is also, you have to bring stuff in tapped. So even if it gets KO'd before you can use it, you can hopefully get that Moria out to then get it back into your hand, to get it back onto the field, that kind of thing. Or you get multiple uses out of your Doflamingo. I think there's a lot of use for this card, so that's why I kept 4 of it. And then we have Mihawk. This is one, once again, I think you could do maybe 4 of, but I just figured the extra blocker would be, you know, beneficial because it does get you card draw as well. And this one, good card draw, but you know, I more have a multiple in there because he does have the 2000 counter as well. So once you have 1 Mihawk down, you can have that extra 2000, gonna give you some flexibility. Then we have our high cost characters. We have Crocodile, good high cost for a blue. He has Banish, so it's gonna be very useful to try to get like life and deny your opponent the card draw. You can also attach it on to make your events cost less, which is always going to be very useful. So I like this one. You know, I don't think you need more than 2 of in it. There's not enough events that you need a ton, like 3 of him or anything like that, but I think that having him on the field will certainly not hurt. Then we have Mihawk, your big monster. You're going to be throwing him out. He's going to be getting rid of a 7 of cost. Basically, this is just to try to get rid of some bigger threats. You have another option, but it does bring the big threats back to hand, while this just completely neutralizes them, gets them out of the way at the bottom of the deck, really hard to get back to. So, you know, I think it's good. I think it's a good option just to kind of have in your back pocket. So that's why I kind of did 2 of them. Thought it would be useful. And we have our event cards. This is another one you could probably do a different mix. Maybe you throw in some other ones. So we have basically 2 of each of these, and maybe you drop down 2 Desert Spartas to get like a paw pad in or something like that, because I kind of didn't realize that this was active characters. So it does have to be a standing, but I don't think that's like, you know, I don't think that's too specific. We have other cards that do return to hand, so we have Desert Sparta. This is just, the only reason I didn't do more of these is because I have plenty of other cards that kind of look through your deck, but this is a good trigger just to let you kind of reset, make sure you have it, and maybe if the board state changes, you can kind of make sure that you've readjusted your deck to be ready for the next round. You maybe even flex this up to 4 of. Overheat, really good, plus 4,000. Return an active character, costs 3 or less. Going to be good for you to return something maybe if you think it's in danger, or you return something that looks like it's going to be pretty threatening. Like I said, you maybe switch this out for Paw Pad, maybe. We do 2 Love Beam. This is another one you maybe flex out, but you know, the card draw is not bad, plus 4,000. So, you know, as I said, I think these events you probably, if you're feeling something a little different, you switch it out. But the kind of like the 2 things this deck is kind of trying to do is card draw and controlling like what you're drawing, basically. So, you know, I didn't think it was a bad one. Maybe you do like, instead of the overheats, maybe you do 4 love beams instead, something like that. We have Crescent Cutlass, and since this is a Warlord leader, we can use it, and it returns a character with 5 cost or less to the owner's hand, and gonna be useful. Gonna get rid of some higher powerful characters, higher power blockers that you're worried about for the round, or if your opponent kind of misplays and plays a high cost character and then attacks, you can maybe punish them and get rid of that character, kind of like mess with their setup. So it's definitely gonna punish some sequencing errors, that kind of thing. Gonna be a useful card, maybe more, but I don't think you need, like I said, I don't think you need a lot. The idea is that you kind of have a low number of some of these, because you are hopefully able to get them pulled out when you want them. And then I did 4 of these. I really like Sables. Main, return one of your opponent's characters with a cost 7 or less to its owner's hand. Trigger, activate this card's main effect. This is super good. Returning a 7 cost. It has the trigger. I don't see a reason why you don't have 4 of them in here. Like, honestly, because it's one of those things where, like, maybe you do Doflamingo instead, but, like, I much prefer the lower cost. Getting rid of a really big threat, this is a really good card. I think this is an easy 4 of, especially because you get that Doflamingo on the board and it becomes a 3 cost. Super useful. I think, like I said, if this one is definitely a 4 of for the events. I think everything else you can probably, like, mix and match your blue events to fit whatever you're trying to do. Like I said, I could probably do flex up to 4 love beams. You maybe do 4 of these, maybe, or maybe you subtract this, do 3, 3, 2, 4, like. But yeah, like I said, I think basically this is like, these are kind of the cards you want to use, and you can kind of mix and match and kind of like fluctuate and mix the card numbers to kind of figure out exactly how, exactly who you want to pull out, exactly what you want to do. So I'm still kind of teching it, kind of figuring it out, but I think this is a pretty solid start for a Doflamingo deck, honestly. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And yeah, if you'd like the video, give it a like. I do appreciate it. Gonna be doing more leaders. I have a king that I'm tweaking. I think it's pretty fun, basically just trying to ramp up the 10 and then just rip into your enemy. Every time I've played it, it's been pretty powerful. So I think that that's going to be a good one to play with. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys. See you later.